Welcome to Sociology Visualized. Every sociological inquiry is shaped not only by methods and theories but also by ethical considerations and political contexts. The relationship between ethics and politics raises fundamental questions about the role of sociology, whether it should remain neutral and objective or actively engage in transforming society. This lecture examines the tension between ethical responsibility and political commitment within the discipline of sociology. Meaning of ethics in sociology. Ethics refers to the moral principles that guide research and the conduct of sociologists. It establishes standards for what is considered right or wrong in the process of knowledge production. In sociology, ethics addresses issues such as the treatment of research participants, the integrity of data, and the broader social consequences of research. Ethical guidelines ensure that sociological inquiry does not harm individuals or communities and maintains credibility. The key principles of ethical research include informed consent, where participants are made aware of the nature and purpose of the study, confidentiality, which protects the identity and privacy of participants, non-maleficence, which emphasizes that research should not cause harm, and honesty, which requires accurate representation of data without fabrication or manipulation. Ethical standards are formalized by professional bodies such as the American Sociological Association, which provides guidelines for responsible research practices. Politics in sociology. Politics in sociology refers to the role of power, ideology, and interests in shaping knowledge. Sociology does not exist in a vacuum, it is influenced by historical, social, and political contexts. The production of sociological knowledge is often tied to dominant power structures. What is studied, how it is studied, and whose perspectives are represented are all influenced by political considerations. Karl Marx argued that knowledge is shaped by material conditions and class relations. For him, sociology should expose systems of exploitation and contribute to revolutionary change. Antonio Gramsci extended this idea by introducing the concept of hegemony, where dominant groups maintain power by shaping cultural norms and beliefs. Michel Foucault further emphasized that power and knowledge are inseparable, arguing that what is accepted as truth is produced through power relations. Value neutrality versus value commitment. The debate between value neutrality and value commitment is central to understanding ethics and politics in sociology. Max Weber advocated the principle of value neutrality, arguing that sociologists should strive to remain objective and separate their personal values from their research. According to Weber, sociology should focus on explaining social phenomena rather than prescribing solutions. He introduced the idea of Wertfreiheit, or value freedom, emphasizing that scientific inquiry should be free from bias. However, Weber also acknowledged that values influence the selection of research topics. In contrast, Karl Marx rejected the idea of neutrality. He argued that sociology should not only interpret the world but also change it. According to the Marxist perspective, neutrality often serves to maintain the status quo and supports existing power structures. Sociologists, therefore, have a responsibility to align themselves with oppressed groups and work towards social transformation. This debate reflects two contrasting roles of sociology, as an objective science and as a tool for social change. Ethical issues in research practice. Ethical challenges often arise in the practical conduct of research. Sociologists frequently encounter dilemmas where methodological goals conflict with ethical principles. One such issue is covert research, where participants are studied without their knowledge. While this may provide authentic data, it raises serious ethical concerns regarding consent and privacy. Research on sensitive topics such as crime, sexuality, or caste discrimination can also pose ethical challenges. These studies may expose participants to emotional distress or social stigma. Power imbalances between researchers and participants further complicate ethical considerations. Researchers must be cautious not to exploit vulnerable groups or misrepresent their experiences. A well-known example is the Tea Room Trade study by Lord Humphreys, which involved observing anonymous sexual encounters without participants' consent. The study generated significant debate about the limits of ethical research. Public sociology and political engagement. Michael Burawoy introduced the concept of public sociology, which emphasizes the active engagement of sociologists with societal issues. Public sociology seeks to bridge the gap between academic research and public discourse. Burawoy identified 4 types of sociology: professional sociology, which focuses on theoretical and methodological development; policy sociology, which provides solutions to specific problems; critical sociology, which examines underlying assumptions and structures; and public sociology, which engages with wider audiences and social movements. This approach highlights the ethical responsibility of sociologists to contribute to social change and address public concerns. Feminist and postmodern perspectives. Feminist sociology critiques the traditional notion of objectivity, arguing that knowledge has historically been shaped by male perspectives. Scholars such as Dorothy E. Smith and Sandra Harding emphasize standpoint epistemology, which recognizes that knowledge is situated and influenced by social positions. They argue that marginalized groups can offer more complete and critical insights into social reality. Postmodern thinkers such as Jean-François Lyotard challenge the idea of universal truths. They argue that knowledge is fragmented and context-dependent. From this perspective, ethics is not based on universal principles but is shaped by specific cultural and historical contexts. Ethics and politics in the Indian context. In India, the relationship between ethics and politics is deeply intertwined with issues of caste, class, and social inequality. B.R. Ambedkar emphasized that social science must address injustice and contribute to the annihilation of caste. His work reflects a strong commitment to ethical responsibility and political transformation. M.N. Srinivas, through his fieldwork in Indian villages, highlighted the importance of ethical engagement with communities and the challenges of maintaining objectivity in socially complex settings. The Indian context raises important questions about whether sociologists can remain neutral when studying deeply unequal social structures. Conclusion: ethics and politics are inseparable dimensions of sociological inquiry. Ethics provides guidelines for responsible research, while politics shapes the direction and purpose of knowledge. The discipline of sociology operates within this tension between objectivity and commitment. While some argue for neutrality and scientific rigor, others emphasize the need for engagement and transformation. Ultimately, sociology is not only about understanding society but also about recognizing the responsibility that comes with such understanding. If you found this lecture helpful, do like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you.